At a family dinner in our Dublin home, I arrived late, stuck in Columbus traffic, and slipped in quietly through the side door. Before I could even say hello, I heard my mom's laugh echoing from the kitchen. She was talking to my dad. "She's like a walking wallet on legs," Mom said, chuckling. "Anything we want, she just buys it." Dad snorted. "Think we should put her in the will?" They both burst out laughing. My stomach dropped. I froze right there in the hallway, hand still on the doorknob. The words hit harder than any slap. I turned around, walked out, and drove home without a word. My name is Hailey. I'm 37, a senior project manager at a software company in Columbus. I've got a solid paycheck, a small condo downtown, and for years I've been the one keeping my family afloat. Mortgage payments, car repairs, random bills, whatever they needed, I sent. I thought it was love. I thought it was duty. Turns out it was just convenient. That night, everything changed. They had no idea I heard them. And the next morning, they came asking for something that pushed me over the edge. If you've ever been the family bank and wondered if anyone actually sees you, hit that like button and subscribe, because this story's about to get real. The fallout started the very next day. 2 weeks before that fateful dinner, Mom texted me out of the blue saying she needed me to come over for a family meal because there was something important to discuss. I pulled into the driveway of their modest 2-story house in Dublin, spotting my brother Austin's rusty pickup parked crooked across 2 spots, and my sister Shelby's sedan crammed with shopping bags from the outlet mall. The garage door was half open, tools scattered like always. I grabbed a bottle of red from my trunk and headed inside, the familiar smell of grilled steak hitting me as soon as I opened the door. Mom greeted me with a quick hug in the foyer, her face tighter than usual. "You're here good. Everyone's in the dining room." She took the wine and hurried back to the kitchen. Dad was already at the table, flipping through his phone, looking worn out in his old flannel shirt. Austin lounged on one side, feet up on a chair, scrolling memes. Shelby sat across from him, snapping selfies with her plate. We settled into our usual spots. Parents at the heads, me on the left, Austin and Shelby opposite. Mom brought out the roast, my favorite, sliced thick with potatoes on the side. Conversation stayed light at first, weather turning cooler, Austin's latest shift at the coffee shop, Shelby complaining about her salon job drying up. But I caught Mom and Dad trading glances every few minutes, like they were waiting for the right moment. Finally, Dad set his fork down and cleared his throat. "Kids, your mom and I have to talk about something serious." Mom reached for his hand. "I lost my warehouse supervisor gig last month. Company downsized the whole department." He paused, rubbing his temple. "And Mom's doctor told her to cut back hours at the elementary school. High blood pressure's acting up and standing all day isn't helping." The room went quiet. Shelby stopped mid-bite. Austin put his phone face down. I leaned forward. "How bad is it?" Dad sighed. "We're behind on the mortgage already. Utilities piling up. If we don't catch up soon, the bank starts sending notices." All eyes shifted to me. I felt that familiar twist in my gut. Mom's voice softened, eyes glistening. "We hate asking, Hailey, but you've always been so good to us. You make more than enough at your job." Shelby jumped in right away. "Yeah, you're the one with the big salary. Help Mom and Dad out, it's not like you're struggling." Austin nodded along. "Exactly. We're family." I stared at my plate, the roast suddenly unappetizing. I'd sent them grocery money last month, covered Dad's dentist bill the one before. But this, the house payment. That was over $2,000 a month. My mind raced through my budget, rent on my condo, student loans still lingering, the emergency fund I'd been building. "How much exactly?" I asked. Dad pulled out a crumpled statement. $2,200 give or take. "Just until I land something new." Mom added quickly. "It's temporary, honey. We wouldn't ask if we had options." Shelby leaned forward. "Come on, you got that bonus last quarter, right?" "It's for the house, our house." Austin chimed in. "You don't even have kids or anything." "What else are you spending on?" Their words stung, but the pleading looks won out. I pulled out my phone, opened the banking app, and set up the automatic transfer right there at the table. Fine. I'll cover it starting next cycle. Relief washed over their faces. Mom squeezed my arm. Thank you, sweetheart. You're a lifesaver. Dad raised his glass. To family. The mood lifted instantly. Austin cracked a joke about his barista mishaps. Shelby showed off new nails she'd done herself. I forced smiles, but inside doubts crept in. Family first, sure, but why always me? A few days later, Dad called about his truck breaking down. Transmissions shot 800 to fix. Can you spot me? I transferred it that afternoon. Then Mom texted power bill jumped because of the AC unit acting up 300 needed urgent. I sent that too, watching my savings dip lower. I told myself it was short term. Dad would job hunt, Mom would manage. But as I updated my spreadsheet that night, staring at the shrinking balance, a quiet unease settled in. Was this really fair, or just expected? 3 weeks later, my birthday rolled around. I kept it low-key at my condo downtown, ordering Italian takeout and setting out a small cake from the bakery nearby. I invited the family over, figuring a quiet evening might be nice. Mom and Dad showed up first empty-handed except for a store-bought card. Sorry, no gift this year, Mom said with a shrug as she hugged me. Things are tight, you know how it is. Dad nodded, heading straight for the fridge to grab a beer. Austin arrived 20 minutes late with a girl I'd never met before. Her arm looped through his. This is Jenna, he announced, handing me a cheap mug wrapped in newspaper. Happy birthday, sis. Jenna gave a quick wave and plopped down on the couch. They filled plates high with pasta and garlic bread, chatting about some party they'd hit earlier. Halfway through eating, Austin's phone buzzed. Gotta bounce, he said, packing leftovers into a container. Friends throwing a thing downtown. Thanks for the food. Jenna followed him out without another word. My phone pinged with a text from Shelby. Can't make it, got a hot date. Happy B-Day, though. I stared at the screen, then poured myself more wine. Mom spent the next hour venting about the rising cost of prescriptions, Dad complaining about job applications going nowhere. I nodded along, hints about needing a new microwave or grocery run hanging in the air. I let them slide for now. By the time they left, the place felt emptier than before. I cleaned up alone, scraping half-eaten food into the trash. The next morning, Shelby called bright and early. Hey, I need a favor. There's this cosmetology course advanced certification. My old job wants it for promotion. It's $1,800. Can you cover? She rattled off the details like it was nothing, background noise of her scrolling social media audible. I hesitated, thinking of the automatic transfer already pulling from my account each month. But she pressed. Please, it'll help me get stable. I opened the app and sent the money confirmation, popping up instantly. Done, she squealed. You're amazing. Promise I'll pay back when I can. We both knew that wouldn't happen. That afternoon, I pulled up my budget tracker on the laptop. The numbers glared back: mortgage eating the bulk, car fix and utility top-ups from last week, now this course. My house fund, years of careful saving, had dipped below what I needed for a down payment. Dreams of a place with a yard felt farther away. A knock at the door surprised me. It was my cousin Garrett, stopping by unannounced after a meeting in the city. He worked as a loan officer at a local bank, sharp in his button-down. Heard it's your birthday, brought coffee. We sat at the kitchen table, him noticing the spreadsheet still open. Whoa, that's a lot going out. Family again. I filled him in on the latest requests, skipping the heavier stuff for now. Garrett shook his head. You gotta set boundaries, Hailey. Otherwise they'll drain you dry. His tone was firm but kind, like he'd seen it before with clients. Start saying no, or it never stops. I brushed it off with a laugh. They're family. What else am I supposed to do? He didn't push, just finished his drink and left with a warning look. As the day wore on, that nagging worry grew stronger, settling like a weight I couldn't shake. 2 months later, Dad's 65th birthday party came up. I handled everything, booked a private room at the steakhouse in Dublin, ordered a custom sheet cake with his old fishing photo on top, and picked out a new watch he'd eyed in the catalog. Total hit $4,500 on my card, but I figured milestones like this mattered. I arrived early to set up balloons and name cards, making sure the staff knew to keep refills coming. Family trickled in. Mom wore her best dress, Dad beaming in a fresh shirt. Austin showed up with sketches under his arm, talking big about launching an online coffee brand. Shelby floated around in a flowy top phone out for stories, claiming she'd sold a few digital designs. Guests, mostly Dad's old co-workers and neighbors, clapped when he blew out candles. Toasts started. Mom raised her glass. To Larry, who's always provided for us. Then she turned to Austin. And to our entrepreneur, here, can't wait to see that business take off. Cheers followed. Shelby got her turn next. My girl's got real artistic talent, those graphics are selling already. More applause? When eyes landed on me, Mom smiled. And Hailey, always so responsible, keeping everything together. I forced a grin, but the word responsible landed flat. Conversation shifted to Austin's plans needing startup cash, Shelby's ideas for an art app. I nodded, refilling plates while my mind tallied the evening's cost. Needing air, I stepped into the hallway near the restrooms. Voices carried from a side door, Mom and Dad thinking they were alone. Mom's tone was casual, almost giddy. She's a real cash machine. Without her, we'd have been sunk ages ago. Dad chuckled low. Might as well leave everything to the other two in the will. No point splitting with Hailey. The words slammed into me. I pressed against the wall, breath-catching. Laughter echoed again, light and careless. My hands shook as I gripped my purse. Without thinking, I slipped out a side exit, drove home in silence, the party still going strong behind me. Back at the condo, I grabbed my laptop and logged into the bank. The automatic mortgage transfer stared back, set up months ago. Fingers steady now, I canceled it, effective immediately, confirmation email pinging seconds later. No more. Anger boiled first, hot and sharp, then pain twisted and deep and raw. Finally, resolve hardened. This ended tonight. The next morning, my phone rang off the hook. I ignored the first few calls while brewing coffee in my quiet kitchen, sunlight filtering through the blinds onto the counter. But Mom's name kept flashing, insistent. When I finally answered on the fourth ring, her voice cracked with urgency, breathless like she'd been pacing. The bank just notified us the payment bounced. What's going on? They're talking late fees already. In the background, Dad muttered something about checking statements, papers rustling. I took a slow breath, gripping the mug tighter, steadying myself against the island. I heard you both last night at the party. I'm not an ATM for anyone. No more money from now on, not a cent. Silence stretched long enough for me to hear her sharp inhale. Then Mom gasped, tone shifting to defensive. You misunderstood everything, we were joking, stressed out from all the bills piling up. Come on, Hailey. Before she could spin more excuses, Shelby's texts flooded in one after another. You're being stingy always about the cash with you. A pause, then selfish much, we're family. Another bet, you're loving this power trip. Austin called right after, voice raised and echoing like he was in his truck. You've got extra lying around, why cut us off now? It's not fair. He rambled about his side gigs, falling through how the house was everyone's security. I let them vent without interrupting, heart pounding but voice calm when I spoke. It's done. Don't call again. Mom jumped back on, begging through sobs. Talk to your father, he's devastated, sitting here staring at the wall. Dad grabbed the phone, his breathing heavy. Think about what you're doing to the family, to your mother's health. I repeated myself firmly and hung up the line, going dead. Messages kept coming for hours. Guilt trips from Mom about doctor visits she couldn't afford, now more insults from Shelby calling me cold-hearted Austin, demanding I reconsider for old times' sake. I blocked every number systematically, starting with Mom's cell, then Dad's, Austin's, even Shelby's secondary line she used for work contacts. The screen finally went quiet, notifications silenced at last. For the following week, nothing broke the peace. No unexpected knocks at the door, no emails sneaking through my work inbox. I threw myself into projects at the office, volunteering for extra reports and staying late to collaborate with the team. The hum of fluorescent lights. A welcome distraction. Evenings back at the condo were tougher, though, replaying the conversations in my head during dinner, alone, questioning years of giving while scrolling through old photos on my phone before deleting them one by one. I booked an appointment with a therapist I found online through my insurance portal, someone specializing in family dynamics and boundary setting. The first session happened in a small office downtown, neutral walls adorned with abstract art, soft lighting from a corner lamp creating a safe space. She introduced herself calmly and listened without judgment as I explained the pattern in detail, starting with small favors that snowballed, escalating to full life support without reciprocity. "Why do you think you allowed it for so long?" she asked gently, notepad in hand. I sat back on the couch, unpacking it aloud for the firstest time. Guilt from being the successful one in a struggling family, fear of them suffering without my intervention, the ingrained idea that blood meant endless sacrifice, no matter the cost. She nodded thoughtfully. Enabling often masks deeper issues like needing approval or avoiding conflict. We dug into childhood memories, how praise came tied to helping around the house or sharing toys, how saying no felt like betrayal even then. Homework assignments followed journaling triggers, practicing refusal phrases in the mirror. Sessions became a routine anchor, twice weekly at first, then tapering as tools built up. I journaled between them, religiously tracking emotions instead of expenses, noting patterns in dreams or sudden anxiety spikes at grocery stores. Anger faded gradually into clarity, pain transforming into firm boundaries. For the first time, I saw the cycle clearly, not just recent events but a lifetime, and chose to step out permanently. Saturday, the following week, pounding shook my door. I peered through the peephole from the living room. Mom, Dad, Austin, and Shelby clustered on the landing outside my condo, faces twisted in the harsh hallway light. Mom's eyes were red and swollen, mascara streaking. Dad gripped a thick folder of bank papers. Austin paced with clenched fists. Shelby scrolled her phone furiously. I cracked the door on the chain latch, keeping my foot braced behind it. "What are you doing here?" I said. "No contact." Mom pushed forward immediately, tears streaming down her cheeks in fresh waves. "Please open up. We're losing the house tomorrow if we don't pay." Her voice broke, hands trembling as she clutched the door frame. Dad added softly but desperately, stepping closer. "Just talk to us inside, kid. We can fix this together like always." Austin shoved past her shoulder aggressively. "You're an ungrateful brat, cutting us off like trash after everything." Shelby snarled right behind him. "Spoiled and heartless, think you're better than us now." Their voices overlapped in a chaotic barrage, echoing down the apartment hallway and drawing curtains twitching in nearby units. Mom sobbed louder, wiping her face with a tissue. "How could you do this to your own parents?" "We raised you," Dad pleaded again, waving the folder. "The bank's threatening foreclosure. Give us one more chance. Transfer what you can." Austin interrupted. "Ungrateful daughter," Shelby yelled. "You'll be sorry when we're homeless." I held the door firm against their pushing, pulse racing but stance solid. "Leave now or I call the cops." "This is harassment." Austin laughed bitterly, banging once more. "Go ahead, see if they side with you over family." Shelby spat venom. "You owe us for all the years we put up with your attitude." My phone buzzed insistently in my pocket. Garrett calling. I stepped back inside, quickly slamming the chain off to answer on speaker while they banged harder, the wood rattling. "Hey, I just heard from your folks through Aunt Karen," he said, voice tense and hurried. "They're spinning some wild story about you abandoning them, but Listen carefully. Back when we were kids, your parents set up a college fund with grandma's inheritance money. They pulled your name off it years ago around high school and redirected everything to Austin and Shelby for better opportunities like community college or trade school. I saw the amended papers at Grandma's house once tucked in her files. Thought you knew. The revelation hit like a punch to the gut deeper than the party words. I stared at the vibrating door pounding, continuing relentlessly. Mom wailed outside. "Hailey, open this door right now," Dad begged louder. "We're desperate. Think of your siblings," Austin yelled through the gap. "Selfish jerk, open up," Shelby added shrilly. "You've always been the favorite anyway." Shock froze me for a second, old memories flashing my part-time jobs through college loans I took alone. Then fury surged hot. I dialed 911 without hesitation, putting it on speaker loud enough for them to hear. "Police. I have unwanted visitors refusing to leave my apartment building. They're banging on my door and won't stop." The operator asked for details calmly. I gave the full address, described the group of four, mentioned the disturbance to neighbors. Sirens weren't far in the city. I heard faint wails approaching already. The banging stopped abruptly, as if on cue. Dad muttered urgently, "Let's go, can't risk getting arrested over this." Footsteps retreated in a scramble, car doors slamming outside, engine revving away down the parking lot. I locked up triple deadbolt chain knob, then slid down the wall to the floor, knees weak. Relief washed over first, the sudden quiet welcome after the storm, my home secure again. But pain followed close behind, sharp at the betrayal, stretching back to teenage years, the fund I never knew existed. Lighter in the moment, yet heavier with the full history all at once. 6 months passed in a blur of routine and rebuilding. News of the family filtered through mutual friends and old neighbors, bits pieced together over coffee chats or group texts. The bank moved forward with foreclosure after missed payments stacked up, forcing Mom and Dad to take a high-interest second loan just to stall the process. They downsized drastically, listing the house for a quick sale that barely covered debts. Austin landed a warehouse job at the local Home Depot, stocking shelves on night shifts for minimum wage, plus overtime when available. Shelby picked up waitress gigs at a diner off the highway, balancing trays and tips to scrape by. Mom and Dad sold their second car, a reliable SUV they used for errands, and cut out all luxuries. No more cable packages, dining out, or weekend trips to the outlet malls. I focused on my own path during that time. Therapy sessions shifted to monthly check-ins, tools for boundaries now second nature. I listed my downtown condo with a realtor, staging it neatly and accepting an offer above asking after open houses drew steady interest. Closing happened smoothly, funds transferring into my account with room for a solid down payment. I found a modest 3-bedroom house in a quiet Dublin neighborhood, complete with a fenced yard and updated kitchen, my first true home. Moving day involved hiring professionals, boxes labeled efficiently, the fresh start feeling earned. Savings rebuilt faster without the drain, automatic deposits growing the emergency fund, and a new investment portfolio through Works 401k matching. I joined a local hiking group on weekends, exploring parks around Columbus, building friendships unrelated to obligation. Learning to say no extended beyond family, politely declining extra projects at the office, negotiating raises based on performance reviews. One evening, an unknown number rang during dinner prep. I almost ignored it, but curiosity won. Dad's voice came through, hesitant and older sounding. "It's me, using a burner app. Look, we're updating the will. Want to split everything, even now, make things right." He paused, waiting. Mom chimed in faintly. "We miss you, honey. Come over sometime." I leaned against the counter, knife paused over vegetables. "This isn't about the will or money. You never saw me as a daughter, just a resource. I'm done." Dad tried. "People change, we're trying." But I cut him off gently. "Goodbye." Blocked the number, deleted the call log. No more attempts followed. I removed family photos from frames, storing them in a box at the back of the closet, digital albums archived offline. Contacts purged, social media unfollowed. The cut felt permanent, a clean severing. Their consequences served as stark reminders: the house sold at loss. Austin complaining about sore backs from lifting boxes all shift. Shelby posting tired selfies after double shifts. Mom and Dad relying on public transit and coupon clipping. No reconciliation, no shared holidays, just parallel lives diverging further. From it all, the lesson crystallized clear. True family isn't transactional, bought with checks or guilt. Boundaries aren't selfish, they're self-respect, protecting your peace and future. I chose myself, built a life on my terms, and found happiness deeper than any obligation. To everyone who stuck with this story to the end, thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening. Your time means the world. What about you? Have you set a tough boundary with family? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone.